everyone, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's Wild About Art. So today I'm doing a little acrylic painting of a bumblebee sitting on a flower. So I'm just drawing in the basic outline now, getting the proportions exactly where I want them, and then I'll attempt to draw the flower in. I don't usually draw flowers, but I'm going to have a bit of fun practicing techniques and seeing how I go. So yeah, I'm just drawing in the basic shapes, get the picture to how I want it, and then I'll go in with the acrylics. So I'm starting on the background now and I'm going straight in with chromium oxide green, and I'm just taking that all around the flowers and around the bee. It doesn't matter that I go over the edges a little bit of the drawing because I can add them back in after. So yeah, I just fill in the whole background, get good coverage all over it, maybe go over it a couple of times, and then I'll start on the bee and the flowers. So for the bee, they are mainly black and gold. So I'm using burnt umber cobalt blue to make a very dark browny grey. And I just run that over and block in the whole body of everywhere that's going to be black on the bee. Now I'm adding lemon yellow into the yellow areas of the bee, and I'll start to build up the layers, getting darker and darker as I go. So this is just blocking him in. As you can see, I'll darken up his eye. I'll have his eye in carbon black to begin with, and the area around his eye, and I build up the layers darker and darker as I go. Now I start to add some highlights, so I make up a grey. I'll use a bit of graphite grey and I add a little bit of white just to block in the wing area and mark out where the highlights are going to be on the top of the eye. And yeah, and I start to add highlights in around the bumblebee's legs and any areas that are going to have highlights. I'm going to start to lighten up the top of the bumblebee's back now, so I add a bit of lemon yellow with a little bit of white and try and make that top of the bumblebee's back brighter. And then I start to work on the flowers, and I'm mixing up a light mauvey sort of colour. So I use magenta and a little bit of white, and I add a touch of cobalt blue, and I try to sort of fill in, just block in the flowers as well, and I start to build up the layers, just adding slightly different mixes of magenta. So I add a little bit of magenta, a little bit of cobalt blue as well, just to darken up that colour, and add shadows and try and get some depth into the flowers. Now I add the darker darks to the legs, and I start to add a little bit more detail here. So you can see I'm adding the feet and adding just some more dark details. And then I'm adding also highlights. So I'm doing the darkest darks and the lightest lights and just working my way around the bumblebee until I'm happy with the details. Now I mix up a really deep orange for the very darkest shadows underneath the bee, and I'm pretty happy with how the different values and colours that are coming up on this bee. Now I decide I'm going to add some more plant underneath the bee. So I take out that one leg and I start to add a few more plant details around underneath. I think it needs a bit more balance. So yeah, so I sort of thicken up the bottom part of the plant that the bee's standing on. So now I'm adding all the final details to this little bumblebee. So I'm adding the lightest lights and the darkest darks and fairy bits where he needs fairy bits. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love it if you click like and subscribe and click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I release a new video. I also have a Twitch stream where I live stream up to 7 days a week and create these pieces. I'd love it if you'd come hang out and chat. I'll have that listed in my links below. Also, I'll have listed my Instagram. I'd love to share my art over there as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next video. Okie doke. Bye.